in the Roanoke Civic Center in Roanoke, Virginia, as we get ready for the semi-final round of this U.S.HRA Association Monster Truck War. The final four are ready to go, and this matchup alone is worth the price of admission. The Bigfoot Ford of legendary Bob Chandler takes on the Micro Machine Chevrolet that has been the biggest surprise of this event. The new kid behind the wheel, Kurt Fisher, puts the goggles on and gets ready to take on the most famous truck in motorsports history. John Pyatt backs up to the starting line over the 4-foot-high dirt moguls that sit only a few feet off the ready line. And you have to wonder what's going through this kid's mind. It is first ever USHRA Association National Championship event. Here he is lined up against the all-time killer. The Bigfoot team pilot appears to be ready. The machine goes into a forward gear. As the blue Ford moves forward to the ready line, they wait for the green. And the kid gets a huge hole shot and holds it to the finish line. The Bigfoot Ford tried to come on hard, but couldn't make up the difference. That race was won strictly on the starting line ability of young Kurt Fisher. Incredible upset. Even though the Micro Machines entry qualified better than Bigfoot, you still have to consider a Bigfoot loss a surprise in any USHRA Association event. There you see the whole shot. Bigfoot closed the gap near the finish line, but still lost out by a solid half truck length. Absolutely incredible job for the kid. And Fisher will take on the winner of this battle. The Weapon 1 Chevrolet of Jerry Richmond out of Ashtabula, Ohio. Probably the most upset we've ever seen this guy in the first round of competition after a heated starting line staging war with Mike Wine and the Jersey Outlaw Ford. Will take on probably the single toughest truck in USHRA Association competition this year. The machine that we have already featured on ESPN from a variety of angles, not the least of which is the fact that as opposed to the $100,000 high-tech team trucks in this sport, the incredible First Blood Ford was built in Rob Fuchs's backyard garage. Fuchs spins the heavyweight Ford F-350 around. That's the way to stage up a monster truck. The crowd loves it. Jerry Richmond, for the second time in a row, is stuck waiting on the starting line. But this time around, it was the Weapon 1 driver's initiative to go in first and get ready. Now Rob Fuchs, you see the rather heavy-duty neck brace that Fuchs has opted to wear this season, wrapped around underneath the helmet. He is staged and ready. The winner goes to the final. And both trucks bogged, but First Blood comes back at the finish line to win in less than 5 feet. For the first time this year on ESPN, we have seen two trucks run into the exact same problem at the exact same point in the course. Regardless, Fuchs will advance to the final round to take on the brash new kid, Kurt Fisher, in the Micro Machines Chevrolet. Meanwhile, in Tampa, Florida, the action is just as intense as a crowd of over 50,000 screaming race fans is ready to witness this man do what he does best. Quite simply, survive. He'll take a full-body passenger car up these ramps and into this mountain of metal. Brian Carson, one of the world's most legendary stuntmen, will perform his art in front of a packed house here at Tampa Stadium. A 1971 Chevy Chevelle with a 350 cubic inch engine picked on the basis of its horsepower and its heavy weight. You need the mass to hit that wall and try and blast through it rather than get stuck to it. Right now, though, Carson steps into the cockpit of the machine and puts on his sole mode of safety equipment, the lap belt and the fireproof Nomex head sock from Speed Sport uniforms and the fireproof gloves. Remember that Brian Carson's claim to fame is that he drives passenger cars into these mountains of metal without the benefit of a roll cage or roll bar. As Brian Carson himself has said so many times before on the 1991 USHRA Association Monster Truck Challenge Series, a daredevil creates the illusion of danger, while the kind of man that I am simply stares it in the face. Carson must achieve a speed, believe it or not, of 62 miles per hour on dirt when he hits the ramps. And notice that the ramps themselves are two independent ramps. He's got to have this car lined up perfectly within a foot either way to hit this jump and make it successfully into that stack of vehicles. The biggest difficulty for this particular attempt is the fact that in order to enter Tampa Stadium, Carson must come in from outside the stadium itself and make a hard left turn at speed in order to line up with the ramps. Remember, no roll bar, no roll cage. Simply a lap belt, a helmet, and fire equipment. Here comes Brian Carson, ready for his attempt. He slows the machine down, rides it up the ramp, and takes one last look at the giant red X that marks the spot where he hopefully will impact that wall at 62 miles per hour. The crowd obviously behind him all the way, sending up huge cheers to wish him on his way to a hopefully successful attempt here in Tampa Stadium. Now, as he heads out to the parking lot area, Brian Carson must make a complete U-turn and line up in what is originally a maintenance equipment entrance to the floor of Tampa Stadium. The crowd waits, holding their breath. And here comes the Speed Sports Chevelle. Carson makes the turn on dirt, now floors the throttle. Unbelievable impact. The car upside down. Everything around the impact point is on fire. There you see the car upside down, charred from the flaming impact. The ground crew spraying fire extinguishers inside the car itself. But look at the fires burning around the floor of Tampa Stadium. You can see the ground crews around the vehicle. They are still trying to put out the fires that have started from the incredible explosion upon impact. But still no word at this point for the safety crews on the ground of Carson's condition. It looked like the car may have dropped the nose slightly just before impact, which is one of the worst possible scenarios for Brian Carson. You must hit that wall straight, perfectly head on, or the car is going to flip, or at very worst, hit the actual wall with the roof of the car. And when you're not dealing with a roll cage, it's the worst possible situation. Now we finally see Carson out of the machine. He appears to be moving, but is obviously not on his feet yet. Carson being helped up by the paramedics. And he's on his feet. Unbelievable. Brian, do you feel like talking at this point? Your big concern was making that left-hand turn on dirt. And you told us that you might not even be able to hit 50 before you made that turn. You're going to have to make up the rest of the 15 miles an hour or so between there and the ramps. You did it. It was a perfect dip, but I've never seen such a fireball.
I'll tell you, it was hot in there, and all week we didn't know if we could get the speed. And Jimmy Harrison had their own pace, and they worked with us. And you know, this place is made for Giants win football games, not for car stuff.
It is absolutely incredible that you would even attempt this risk, because quite frankly, you know as well as the rest of us, a lot of people said you're a fool and this is one you're not going to get out of. It can't be done, yet you insisted on trying it. Why?
Well, there's a lot of people in this business, and they say they're going to do this and that, and all you can do is keep your word and try to live up to it. I wasn't quite sure what was going to happen, and I think we got a hell of a wreck here. All I can say is God bless you, Tampa Bay. God bless the USA. Thank you.